to limit global warming. But which countries are the real leaders when it comes to reducing CO2, which are the biggest change?
That human activities are responsible for climate change. That's the finding of a new study by the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. It's the most up-to-date assessment of how global warming will change the world in the coming decades. Environmental experts have called it a massive wake-up call to governments to cut emissions.
On Friday, the 24th of September, we are going to have our next big global strike. And it has been a very, very strange year and a half with this pandemic. But of course, the climate crisis has not disappeared. It's the opposite. It's even more urgent now than it was before. Some might think that we are moving in the right way right now, but it is actually the opposite. After the pandemic, only 2% of government spendings have been allocated to clean energy. 2021 is currently projected to experience the second highest rise in emissions ever. And a recent report by the UN says that right now it is projected that by 2030 our emissions will have risen by 16% compared to 2010 levels. Time and time again, the leaders today show that they do not care about the future. At least it doesn't seem like it. Their actions don't reflect. They say that they listen to us young people, but they are obviously not. They have proven that now again. And that's why we will be back on the streets, and we hope that as many as possible, in, of course, taking into account the local circumstances when it comes to COVID, but we hope that people will now go back on the streets and that we will be calling for climate action, because we have not disappeared.
you get involved in the planning of the climate strike?
Well, I found out about it through some of my friends in Erie that are environmental activists, and they're friends that I had worked with 2 years ago when we had the first climate strike in Erie, which was an all-day event on a Friday in September. And those friends include several Benedictine nuns and some of their colleagues and members of the community that are really concerned about climate change.
So I actually got involved because Dr. Campbell emailed me about the idea and about the documentary that you're making. And I'm doing this for my project for restoration ecology.
I think it could be a good moment at Mercyhurst for some renewed interest and activity in regards to sustainability and climate action, especially with a new president. And I'm hoping that maybe some of the students who get involved, like yourself and Maddie and Abigail, that you might kind of provide some leadership for organizing some sort of a climate action event here on campus.
I would really like to get more students to have more sustainable options on campus. They could do recycling, composting, just to spread ideas of how they can be more sustainable.
And is there anywhere you know of that students can start to make change on campus?
My goodness, there's so many things. Recycling is one. Another thing is be more conscious about energy use. There's dozens of things that you can do to conserve energy in your residences, and that involves things as simple as turning the lights off and not running dishwashers until they're full, and just maybe walking to class instead of driving over, which is something that I think happens sometimes.
They could have compost things in the dining area because a lot of people waste their food since it is an all-you-can-eat area. So I feel like we should have a compost area, and we could use that for a plant, a garden on campus, even the green roof upstairs. And honestly, I feel like we could switch to a lot of LED light bulbs in the apartments, because I feel like we don't have a lot of LEDs, so that would be energy saving.
Okay, so what's your name?
Tiajane Johnson.
Okay, then why are you here today?
Because eventually when I get older, I want to have children, and I want my kids to be in a place where they're safe and not have the world be like gloomy and stuff. And I think that it's important that everyone, even kids, to step out here today and support everyone and just be here together as one and just fighting until something actually happens, a change comes. And yeah.
Great. Are you here with your school or a different organization?
I'm here with the Neighborhood Art House.
Okay. And then how did you learn about climate change?
Through the Neighborhood Art House, especially through Sister Pat. I've been taking her class since I was like 7 or 8. And she's been, so sorry. She's been teaching me a lot about the climate, about the whole, like everything.
And 3/4 of them said they thought the future was frightening. Over half, 56%, said they think humanity is doomed. Our future! Save 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 our future!
Thanks very much. I appreciate the messages that all of you gave to me. No, I do not think climate change is at all over-exaggerated. It's a very important topic. Anybody that just looks at what the temperature's like now versus what it was 10, 20, 30 years ago has got to say, hey, something's changing. We're getting some much worse weather than we've ever gotten in Erie. Erie was a place where we never had severe weather. Now we're starting experiencing that. I think it's all tied to the way the temperature's going up, and we've got to correct that before we can't live here anymore.
2/3 reported feeling sad, worried, and anxious. Many felt fear, anger, despair, grief, and shame as well. One 16-year-old said, "It's different for young people. For us, the destruction of the planet is personal."
I'll never surrender, not going down. I'm gonna stand my ground till the final hour, till the fight is over. Gonna soldier on, 'cause I'm an army of one. Gonna feel my power till the fight is over, till the fight is over.